Have you ever tried to take a super close-up photo of something tiny like a bug on a leaf or a drop of water on a flower, only to end up with a blurry mess? That's where macro photography comes in, and if you're someone who enjoys snapping detailed shots of small things, then the Pixel 10 might just be your dream phone. Google is planning to shake things up with how it handles macro photography in the upcoming Pixel 10 series, and this change could make a big difference in the quality and flexibility of your photos. Right now, Pixel phones that support macro mode only use the ultra-wide camera sensor for close-up shots. That works fine most of the time, but it comes with some limits, especially when you're trying to get detail from a distance without losing focus. So what's Google changing? The Pixel 10 will reportedly use not just the ultra-wide sensor, but also the telephoto sensor when capturing macro shots. It's a smart system where the phone switches between the two sensors based on how close you are to your subject. When you're a bit farther away, it'll use the telephoto sensor to lock focus. As you move closer and the telephoto lens starts to lose focus, the phone automatically switches to the ultra-wide sensor, which can focus better at shorter distances. This system gives you a more flexible way to shoot macro photos, no more struggling to get your phone just inches away from the subject while keeping things clear. And if you're taking pictures of things that get scared off easily, like butterflies or bees, the telephoto sensor helps you capture them without getting too close. This method, known as tele-macro, isn't exactly brand new. Back in 2022, Samsung tested a similar feature on the Galaxy Z Fold 4, but strangely enough, they didn't stick with it and switched back to using just the ultra-wide lens in the Galaxy Z Fold 5. More recently, companies like OnePlus and Oppo have added tele-macro support to their phones too, though they haven't really advertised it. What makes the Pixel 10 different is how it blends the two methods together instead of picking just one. The phone is expected to use its 5x telephoto sensor for macro photos when you're a little farther from the subject, and then switch to the ultra-wide sensor when you're up close. Plus, using the telephoto lens for macro shots gives you a smooth background blur, often called bokeh, which helps make your subject stand out clearly. Google's software will handle all this switching automatically, so you won't need to fiddle with settings or guess which lens to use. But this improvement in macro photography isn't happening alone. Have you ever seen a phone that looks so sleek and thin, only to be completely thrown off by one awkward detail? That might be exactly what's going on with the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7. On the surface, this could be Samsung's thinnest foldable phone ever, just around 9mm thick when folded and nearly 4.5mm when fully open. That's impressively slim, especially when you compare it to earlier Galaxy Z Fold models or even rivals like Huawei's Mate X2 Ultimate, which measures about 3.6mm. But here's the thing, a new leak is making some people pause. And it's all about the camera bump. A user on Reddit, going by the name PR0Fisi, shared an image render that shows the Galaxy Z Fold 7 with a massive rear camera island. The triple lens setup looks huge, especially from a side angle, and even though the phone is shown with a case on, which naturally adds some bulk, the bump itself still sticks out quite a lot. For some users, that might be a deal breaker. Imagine having this super thin, futuristic phone that feels like a gadget from a sci-fi movie. And then you turn it over and see this chunky camera block sitting right there. It feels like it ruins the whole point of the phone being thin, too. Be fair, not everyone minds. Some people, especially those who care more about camera quality than how flush their phone sits on a table, might not care. If those cameras deliver sharp images and smooth video, the bump might be worth it. But for others, especially those who were excited about how slim the phone looked in earlier leaks, this bulky camera could make them think twice. It's not that big cameras are new. Even the best phones today often have camera bumps. But in a phone where Samsung is clearly pushing thinness as a key selling point, having such a big camera module seems like a weird choice. It kind of sends mixed signals. On one hand, Samsung is trying to show off with numbers, thinner chassis, smaller hinge, and all that. But on the other hand, this camera bump kind of cancels out that whole vibe. And since this image is just a leak, not an official photo, there's still a chance things could change. Maybe the bump won't be that noticeable in the final design. But still, with the official launch expected in July at Samsung's next Unpacked event, there's not much time left for surprises. It's interesting because foldables are already a niche product. People who buy them usually want cutting-edge tech, fancy looks, and something that stands out, but they also expect balance. A phone this thin shouldn't feel uneven or uncomfortable just because a phone really lasts you all day without making you reach for a charger? Huawei thinks it can, and with its new Pura 80 series, it's not just promising long battery life. It's actually delivering it. Smartphone batteries are often overlooked. We talk about cameras, screens, and processors, but let's be honest, none of that matters if your phone dies before dinner. Huawei seems to understand that, and their new Pura 80 series shows how serious they are about battery performance. Let's start with the basics. Huawei launched for models in the Pura 80 series, the Ultra, Pro Plus, Pro, and the standard Pura 80. And this time, Huawei didn't just put the biggest battery in the most expensive model. They've gone big across the board. The Pura 80 Ultra, Pro Plus, and Pro all pack a 5,700 mAh battery. That's a big jump compared to last year's Pura 70 Ultra, which only had a 5,200 mAh battery. The other models from that lineup were even lower, 5,050 mAh in the Pro Plus and Pro, and just 4,900 mAh in the base model. But even the regular Pura 80 isn't left behind this time. It comes with a 5,600 mAh battery, making it bigger than any model from last year's Pura 70 series. So what does this mean for users? It means your phone will last longer, plain and simple. Whether you're watching videos, taking photos, or just browsing, you won't have to constantly check your battery level, and when it finally does need to be charged, Huawei made sure that part is quick too. Now let's talk about charging speeds. The Ultra, Pro Plus, and Pro models in the Pura 80 lineup all support 100-watt wired charging. That's very fast. They also support 80-watt wireless charging and 18-watt wired reverse charging, so you can even use your phone to charge other devices through a cable. The regular Pura 80, with its slightly smaller battery, supports 66-watt wired charging and 50-watt wireless charging, still very fast for a non-premium phone. It also has 5-watt reverse wired charging and supports wireless reverse charging too, though Huawei hasn't listed the exact power for that yet. Compared to the Pura 70 series, not much has changed in charging speeds. The specs are mostly the same, but when you combine those speeds with a larger battery, the result is clear: longer usage with less waiting around to recharge. Huawei has been slowly pushing the limits of battery tech over the past few years. They've gone from 66-watt charging to 80-watt, and now to 100-watt, all while making sure the batteries last longer.